Hello, my karmically connected friend. Try asking yourself this question once. What if the twilight years of life are not a quiet fading away, but the beginning of the clearest and most meaningful chapter you have ever written? Society often whispers prejudices into our ears that aging means everything is going downhill, that we must shrink back, accept the slowness of thought, and leave brilliant things to the young. We inadvertently believe that the golden age is over. But under the light of Buddhist wisdom, age is absolutely not a limitation. Your age is not a limitation. It is a doorway. It is a doorway leading you into a stage where wisdom is more important than speed, and peace is more important than perfection. Imagine, at 60 or 70, you no longer bear the burden of straining to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to run to chase the world. You only need to see and live fully with yourself. Old age is not decay, but the refinement of the soul. Today, we will walk together through 10 Buddhist lessons to turn this stage into days lived with intention, serenity, and deepest presence. Lesson 1. Let your life become light again. Let us enter the first lesson, a lesson about relief. Let your life become light again. When young, we spend most of our time accumulating. We accumulate wealth, reputation, relationships, and even responsibilities. But as you step into the twilight years, you will notice a subtle shift in your soul. Things that once made you race with urgency, heavy expectations, or old pains suddenly become less important. However, even though reason knows this, they often still sit quietly on your frail shoulders, as if waiting for an official invitation from you to leave. Buddhism teaches us that the wisest path of old age begins with letting go. Please do not misunderstand. Letting go here is not weakness or abandoning responsibility. On the contrary, it is the expression of a matured strength, the courage to choose peace instead of continuing to carry unnecessary rocks. Engrave this saying in your heart: the later years of life are not a season to accumulate more. It is the season of purification. Imagine your mind is like a house lived in for decades. In that house, there are warm rooms full of beautiful memories, but also messy, dark corners filled with old stories, worn-out resentments, and beliefs that no longer fit. It is time for you to clean up that house. Take your role in the family, for example. Previously, you might have been the one worrying about everything, the pillar solving all troubles for your children and grandchildren. But now, try gently putting that role down. Instead of being the one who must intervene and worry about everything, become the keeper of the flame of peace in the house. Let your descendants walk on their own feet, while you step back to become a peaceful spiritual harbor. That is the greatest support. Tonight, try asking your heart these questions. What is weighing on my heart right now? Which belief do I no longer need? Which sad story keeps replaying in my head, even though it no longer teaches me any new lesson? Letting go is not erasing the past, but respecting the energy of the present. When you dare to put down old luggage, your shoulders will be light, and you will see yourself walking as freely as clouds in the sky on the path ahead. Lesson 2. Choose peaceful relationships, not obligatory ones. When young, we often strain to carry many heavy relationships. We maintain them because of the word duty, because of long-standing habit, or sometimes just out of fear of offending others. But as you enter the autumn of life, a quiet insight will come to you. You realize a truth that not everyone needs to walk with you to the end of the road. In Buddhism, there is a very beautiful concept called Sangha, which is a community of people who nurture each other spiritually. At this age, your Sangha does not need to be noisy or crowded. It could just be a friend who knows how to listen completely without judgment, someone who understands the value of silence, or simply someone who brings you a sense of stability instead of tiring conflicts. Try reflecting on your circle of relationships with the most honest questions. Who helps you breathe easier when around them? Who frequently makes you feel drained of energy after every meeting? And who sees the real you in the present, with the changes of age, not just clinging to your powerful or strong image of the past? Engrave this truth, that there is profound wisdom in choosing peace over closeness. You can absolutely love someone from afar. You can forgive them, but you don't necessarily have to open the door for them to enter and disturb your life again. That is absolutely not coldness or heartlessness. It is the maturity of someone who knows how to cherish inner values. And if you need to establish a boundary to protect that peace, learn to say no gently but firmly. You don't need to explain at length or feel guilty. Try saying, "I cherish this affection very much, but at this current stage of life, I need more quiet time for myself." Bravely choose those who nurture your soul instead of those who come only out of obligation. Lesson 3. Return to the only moment you truly own, the present. Let us move to the third lesson, an important lesson to anchor your soul amidst the flow of time. Return to the only moment you truly own, the present. My dear friend, there is a very common psychological habit when we enter this age. The mind loves to travel. It rarely agrees to stay still in the house of the present. Instead, it often swims upstream in time to return to the past, gnawing on brilliant memories of youth or agonizing over old choices. Or sometimes, it projects into the future filled with anxieties about health and separation. But the Buddha always gently reminds us that the past is just dusty film reels of memory. The future is just unformed imagination. Only this moment, right here, is true life. At this age, we easily fall into the trap of comparison. We look at the slow, aching body of today and compare it with the robust physique of yesterday, then feel self-pity. We look at the empty room today and compare it with the days of crowded reunions when relatives were still around, then feel loneliness invading. But the complete presence I want to talk about here is not forcing yourself to be happy or denying sadness. Presence is simply allowing what is present right now to be enough. Try looking down at the hot cup of tea you are holding, watching the patch of afternoon sunlight gently casting on the window frame, or feeling the quietness of the familiar room. Look at them with an open and appreciative heart. To help you not be swept away by streams of thought, I would like to offer you a small spiritual practice. Whenever your mind starts running back to the past to regret, take a deep breath and silently say, "I am here." Every time you say, "I am here," imagine you are personally lighting a small, warm candle in your heart, dispelling the fog of memory. And when your mind starts worrying aimlessly about tomorrow, smile and silently whisper that this moment is enough. Change your perspective on this stage. Old age is not a clock counting down to zero. It is a great awakening. It is when you let go of non-essential frivolous things to truly touch the core of life. When you know how to cherish the present, you will see that every passing day is not a loss, but a gift given additionally for you to live more deeply. Lesson 4. Make peace with impermanence. Once we have learned how to dwell in the present, the mind will be still enough to receive a greater truth, which is the law of impermanence. My dear friend, perhaps the biggest challenge when entering this age is witnessing everything around, and even inside oneself, constantly changing. The body is no longer as flexible as before. Close relationships gradually become sparse, and priorities in life also differ greatly. Many of us still suffer because we keep trying to cling to the image of the past self, wanting to remain forever young and healthy as before. But the Buddha taught that every life in this world is born to transform, not to stand still. Instead of fearing change, try looking at your life like the four seasons of heaven and earth. Youth is the promising spring of budding sprouts. Middle age is the brilliant and enthusiastic summer. When old, we enter autumn to let go of the leaves of sorrow, and finally, the winter of silence. Please do not look at winter as decay or an end. Winter carries a beauty of transparency, depth, and necessary rest. Your old age is the same. It is the season of ripened wisdom, the time when you understand life more deeply than any other stage. Suffering only appears when we resist this natural flow. We hurt comparing the body now with the past. We are sad losing titles or social roles that once made us proud. But to find peace, you need to realize a liberating truth that you are not that aging body, nor are you those fluctuating emotions. You are much greater than that. Engrave this saying in your heart. You are not the changing thing. You are the clear awareness witnessing that change. Your consciousness, the part observing the wrinkles in the mirror or the pain in the joints, that part does not age at all. It remains intact and bright. To help you practice this acceptance every day, I suggest a small healing ritual. Every time pain visits the body, or when sadness about age rushes in, instead of hating or complaining, gently place your warm hand on that painful spot. Take a deep breath and whisper to your body that everything is changing, and this is the natural nature of all things. When you view pain or aging simply as a natural phenomenon like falling leaves or blowing wind, the resistance in your heart will vanish. You will no longer be a victim of old age, but become a tolerant companion to your own body, calmly walking through the winter of life with the most serene heart. Lesson 5. Find meaning and gratitude in simple daily life. Hello, let us move to the 5th lesson. This is when we redefine happiness to find treasure right in the simplest things of daily life. My dear friend, at this stage of life, meaning no longer comes from how much more work we do, how much money we earn, or racing for productivity like when we were young. True meaning comes from whether we have the ability to look deeply into what is present. True happiness does not need to be extraordinary things or shocking events. It lies right in the simple ways of living that sometimes, due to haste, we have forgotten. Try imagining an early morning. You slowly brew a pot of hot tea. You sit still, watching the patch of brilliant yellow sunlight falling gently on the wooden table and feeling the gentle fragrance emanating from the teacup. That moment, if your mind is still enough to feel, is a wonderful and deep happiness that no money can buy. That is the joy of presence. Gratitude is the magic that helps transform your consciousness. When old, we tend to look at losses, look at diminishing health or growing loneliness. But gratitude will gently turn your gaze from focusing on lack to cherishing the fullness of what still remains. You still have eyes to watch the sky, still have hands to hold. These are miracles we often take for granted. I invite you to practice a small exercise every day to nurture the garden of the soul. Every morning when you wake up, Ask yourself what simple blessing I can appreciate today. It could just be a sound sleep without dreams, or the melodious singing of birds on the porch. And every night before bed, reflect on which moment received today was the most memorable. The purpose of old age is not to try to keep pace with others, but to live today with complete wakefulness and give kindness. Engrave that happiness is not noisy. It is quiet, subtle, and grows like a gentle light filling the room. When you know how to find joy in small things, you will find your life always full of richness and peace. Lesson 6. Cultivate compassion. When the noisy sounds of ambition, career, and heavy responsibilities gradually subside, the most precious thing remaining in our hearts is compassion. Many people often mistake the gentleness of old age for a sign of weakness or fatigue. But that is not so, my friend. Compassion is a form of the most resilient inner strength. It is the courage to look straight at pain without turning away, the deep understanding that anyone, including oneself, is carrying the invisible rocks of fate. Compassion for yourself. Stop the inner court of judgment. The journey of compassion must always start from your own home, which is yourself. There is a painful paradox that when we grow old, we are often tolerant of the whole world, but extremely harsh with ourselves. Try honestly asking your heart why I still forever torment myself for mistakes made decades ago. Why do I speak to myself with harsh words that I would never bear to utter to a loved one? My dear friend, you have survived so many ups and downs, upheavals and storms. You have traveled a very long road to get to today. It is time you need to be gentler with yourself than ever. Forgive yourself. This forgiveness is not because you are perfect or have never made mistakes. You forgive because you understand that at that time, with that awareness and circumstance, you did your best. Your younger version tried as hard as possible to make a living and protect the family. Embrace that past with a look of sympathy instead of cold judgment. Compassion for others. The legacy of warmth. When your heart has softened towards yourself, naturally that compassion will overflow and embrace those around you. You begin to see difficult people, angry people, or those who once hurt you with different eyes. You realize that behind that thorniness is a suffering and fearful soul. I invite you to practice a simple mantra that has miraculous, transformative power in relationships. Every time you meet someone, silently say in your mind that just like me, this person is yearning to be happy. Just like me, this person is struggling with their own sufferings. When you see that similarity, the wall separating self and other will collapse, leaving only the connection between human and human. And finally, please engrave this about the meaning of your life. The true legacy of a human life lies not in the massive structures you have built, but in the pains you have softened in the hearts of others. When you leave this world, people will not remember how rich you were. They will only remember how you made them feel warm and loved. Let compassion become the most brilliant mark you leave on this life. Lesson 7. Embrace solitude as a sacred teacher. As we go deeper into the years of late afternoon, you will notice the space around you seems quieter. Children have grown up and left the nest to build their own lives. Soulmate friends gradually become scarce, and the hustle of society also recedes. Facing that immense silence, the natural human reaction is fear. We fear the feeling of being left behind, fear emptiness, and we call it loneliness. But under the light of Buddhist wisdom, I want to invite you to reconsider this. Solitude is completely different from loneliness. Loneliness is a feeling of lack, pessimism. Solitude is a state of wholeness, a sacred space the universe grants for your soul to speak. Recall the years of youth. You were surrounded by so many responsibilities, work, and social relationships. You were busy caring for others, busy proving yourself to the point of rarely having a full hour to sit still with yourself. You lived outwardly for too long. And now, when that noise recedes, it is not a punishment, but a precious opportunity. This is the time life returns to you, the time and space to return and connect with your rich inner world. Try asking your heart, when was the last time I truly sat still with my thoughts without hurriedly chasing them away? When was the last time I listened to silence like listening to a wonderful piece of music? I understand why we often run away from being alone. Because when external noise no longer dominates, voices from within will rise. We fear facing regrets, unfinished dreams, or unhealed old wounds. But the Buddha gently reminds us, no part inside you is dangerous. Those thoughts and emotions are just guests visiting your house of consciousness, and then will leave. You are the steadfast host. You just need to sit there, smile, and observe them without judgment. When you learn to make friends with silence, you will discover beauties that busyness previously obscured. You will feel moved by the beauty of a falling leaf, deeply feel the warmth of sunlight on your skin, or find joy in every in and out breath. You will realize a healing truth that being alone does not mean being unloved. On the contrary, that is when you learn to love and cherish yourself most deeply. Please engrave this saying as a lamp illuminating the days ahead. Solitude is not the loss of those experiences. It is the space where you can finally savor them. When you know how to enjoy your own presence, know how to smile at the soulmate in the mirror, then even without anyone by your side, you will never truly be lonely. You have become a cool spring, self-sufficient and serene. That is the silent and greatest strength of old age. Lesson 8. Respect the changing body. When the soul has found residence in silence, now is the time we need to return to care for the sacred temple containing that soul. My dear friend, there is a very real and also very painful feeling that many elderly people often experience, which is the feeling of being betrayed by their own bodies. Legs that once climbed mountains and crossed passes now become heavy. The back that once carried the whole family now aches whenever the weather changes. We look in the mirror and sigh at the fading of time, then develop dislike and frustration with the limitations of this flesh. But please slow down a bit to look deeper. This body has never betrayed you. On the contrary, it has been absolutely loyal to you throughout your life. It has walked with you through sick days, tasted bitter tears and radiant smiles with you. It worked hard to feed you, carried and bore children, and strained to protect you through many storms. And now, while moments are completed, that body just wants to rest, to soften after a lifetime of tension. Instead of viewing the body as a broken machine needing repair, view it as a heroic historical witness. The wrinkles at the corners of your eyes are not signs of ugly aging. They are maps of the times you smiled happily, the times you cried for love. The aches in bones and joints are glorious marks of a body that lived fully, labored tirelessly for loved ones. That white hair is the crown of experience and wisdom that no young person possesses. The Buddha taught, that suffering arises when we resist nature. Why do we wish for an eternally youthful body when no plant or creature in this universe goes against the law of birth, aging, sickness, and death? When you judge the body, you are shooting the second arrow at yourself, but when you accept and love it, peace will immediately appear. Engrave this saying as a guideline for self-care. Your body is not a problem to be solved, but a life partner to be respected and grateful for. To nurture this gratitude, I invite you to practice very specific and gentle actions every day. Every morning, when waking up and stepping into the garden or walking in the yard, don't walk as if exercising for achievement. Walk very slowly, feel your feet touching the ground, and silently thank the legs that have taken you so far. Or whenever bathing or massaging limbs before sleep, place your warm hands on painful body areas. Stroke them and whisper, "Thank you for carrying me all these years. From now on, I will be gentler with you." Turn eating into a ritual of care instead of just a habit. Turn gentle stretching exercises into thanks sent to cells. And most importantly, change the question in your mind. Instead of frustratingly asking why my body changes like this, kindly ask, how can I best care for this friend today? When you treat the body with compassion, you will find that even if health weakens, the serenity in the soul is stronger and steadier than ever. Lesson 9. Letting go of the past and emotional freedom. Once we have made peace with the body, we need to face another burden even heavier than age, which is the burden of the past. My dear friend, there are times we feel yesterday seems much heavier than today. Memories of wrong decisions, words that should have been different, or wishes starting with "if only" keep hovering in the mind, forming a thick fog obscuring present joy. But please listen to the wise teaching of the Buddha that the past is not a prison to confine you. The past is a teacher to instruct you. When the teacher has finished conveying the lesson, the student needs to graduate and move on, not sit in that classroom forever clutching old textbooks. You don't need to carry that lesson on your shoulders forever. Sometimes, emotions like regret, guilt, or nostalgia rise strongly, making you think you have failed. But that is not so. Those emotions are proof that you have lived a real life, cared deeply, and loved fully. An unfeeling heart would not know regret. Therefore, cherish even those pains, but do not let them define who you are. To find emotional freedom again, I invite you to practice a gentle contemplation method. Try sitting with your memory like sitting with an old friend not seen for a long time. Don't judge. Don't try to repaint the finished picture. Just look at that memory and ask, what is this event teaching me about love, about letting go, or about the maturity of today? When you extract the lesson, it means the mission of that memory is complete. Imagine your mind is like a vast and calm river. Memories, whether happy or sad, are just leaves floating on that water. A leaf can spin, can sink, can float, but it is not the river. You are the river, the endless flow of life, not those stuck leaves. Don't let a few withered leaves clog the entire flow of your life. And the most important key for the leaf to drift away is forgiveness. Forgiveness here does not mean you agree with the wrongs that happened, or deny the pain others or yourself caused. Forgiveness simply means you choose not to let that wound continue bleeding anymore. You choose to cut the chain binding you to old suffering. Forgive those who once hurt you, because they are also just imperfect humans struggling with their own suffering. And more importantly, forgive yourself for not knowing the things you know now. The you of today has the wisdom of old age, but the you of yesterday had only the enthusiasm and naivety of youth. Do not use present wisdom to punish past immaturity. You tried your best within the capacity allowed at that time. You deserve peace. You have earned the right to move forward unburdened. Remember, the past does not define your human value. What you did or didn't do is not as important as who you are right in this moment. Your level of awakening, tolerance, and serenity right now is the true measure of life. When you let go of the past, your hands will be free to embrace the fresh gifts life is still generously granting you every day. That is the absolute freedom of the soul. Lesson 10. Cultivate a peaceful mind. My dear friend, as we gradually step towards the sunset of life, many people often ask what is the most precious asset they possess. It is certainly not the money in the bank account, not the certificates hanging on the wall, or the titles people once praised. The greatest treasure, the final and most wonderful gift you can give yourself, is a peaceful mind, no longer shaken by the storms of life. Imagine your mind is like a vast garden. The law of nature is very fair. Whatever seed you water, that seed will sprout and grow high. In the years of old age, we often unconsciously water the seeds of fear. We worry about the uncertain future, fear painful illnesses, or feel insecure before loneliness and approaching death. But if we let those weeds of anxiety grow rampant, the garden of your soul will become desolate and suffocating. Peace through breath and awareness. The secret to cleaning that garden is not trying to control or rudely uproot negative thoughts. Peace does not come from suppression, but from clear awareness. When worries visit, do not panic and do not chase them away. Practice observing them like observing strangers passing by your house door. You can silently say to them, "I see you. You are a part of me, but you are not all of who I am." When the mind is agitated, return to rely on your most loyal friend, which is the breath. The breath is the steady anchor keeping your life's boat from drifting far offshore in emotional storms. Just inhale and know you are inhaling. Exhale and know you are exhaling. You are sending a safety signal to the entire body and mind that right at this moment, I am safe. I am still alive. And everything will be okay. Peace through acceptance and gratitude. The deeper level of peace is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean giving up or quitting. Acceptance means you stop the hopeless war with truth. When you accept that old age is an inevitable law, that change is the nature of life, naturally, the resistance in your heart will vanish. Then you will realize a liberating truth that you are not those chaotic thoughts. You are the vast blue sky tolerantly containing all those clouds of thought. Clouds can be dark, stormy, but the sky is forever clear and unchanging. Live with the mindset of the sky, not with the mindset of the clouds. And finally, let gratitude fill the remaining gaps in the soul. Once again, look at the small things around you. A cup of hot early tea, a call asking after you from a relative, the soft chair you are sitting in, or simply that last night you slept peacefully, without pain. When your mind is filled with gratitude, the darkness of lack and fear will no longer have a place to stay. My dear friend, nurturing a peaceful mind is not just a gift for yourself. It is also the most precious gift you give to the world around you. When your mind is peaceful, your voice will become gentle, your presence will radiate cooling energy, and your calmness will be a solid spiritual support for your descendants and loved ones. You become a peaceful harbor amidst the bustling flow of life. Engrave this as a daily reminder that a peaceful mind is the final masterpiece of your life. You are not defined by the number of your age, but defined by the level of awakening and bliss you possess. Spend these precious years completing that masterpiece, so that every passing day is a complete and fulfilling day. My dear friend, closing today's long journey, I just want to send you one final message. Please never let the number of your age define the limit of your being. You are not a number growing larger. You are a consciousness becoming brighter and more open. Your true value is measured by the level of peace and love you choose to live in every present moment. May the years ahead be your most beautiful pages, written with the ink of serenity and wisdom. If these sharings have touched your heart, bringing you a little warmth and relief, please help me spread this benevolent energy by sharing it with karmically connected friends. And don't forget to press the subscribe button so we can continue to hold hands on the path to finding balance and awakening every day. Thank you for listening. Goodbye and see you in peace.